Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with a brand new speed build after 4 years. Yes, I am back. I can't believe it's been 4 years. It's been the longest time. I literally feel like Adele. You know, it's like, hello, it's me. I'm back again. It honestly feels absolutely surreal. I was sat here earlier on and I was thinking about all of my subscribers and how long it's been. And I was thinking that back then when I last uploaded the last video I ever did, that, you know, you might have been in high school at the time and then you were leaving and now you're in college or university, or it might have been you met someone and now you're married and you've got children. Like, life has evolved and we have all grown. In fact, I was actually laughing before thinking I should probably rebrand myself from something like simkim to maybe like Granny Sims, because honestly I feel like I'm getting that old at this point. My daughter was literally 9 weeks old when I started this channel and she's just turned 8. Like, it's been a really, really long time. My kids have asked me over the years, you know, are you going to go back to The Sims? Like, will you ever make videos again? You should do a video. And I've always been like, I don't know, but I guess here I am. So before I get into telling you where I've been this entire time, I'll tell you a little bit about this build. This is Rosehill Avenue. It's a suburban family home. Of course it is. I was never going to come back and build anything else. This is my absolutely favourite type of build, and it's a 5-bed, 2.5 bath build built on a 50 by 50 lot in Willow Creek, which is actually one of my favourite lots in the game. And it comes in at 270,000 simoleons. Now, please don't ask me what expansion packs I used or game packs or anything like that. I have not got a clue. I am completely out of my depth at this point in this game. It turns out, because I literally, when I uploaded my last video, it was the last time I played The Sims 4. I'll get into why that was, but I didn't pick the game up again until about 2 weeks ago. And honestly, I thought back then The Sims maybe had about 2 years longevity left in it. You know, 2 years of expansions, few game packs, and then I thought we were on and off possibly to The Sims 5, but how wrong was I? Because The Sims 4 is still going strong. It's still releasing content in game packs and expansions, and it's absolutely amazing. It's been so quite exciting actually to have a look at how far the game has come within the last 4 years. I know that a lot of the expansions that have been released since have just were hopes and dreams back then. I mean, I never would have imagined that they would have come out with the expansions that they have. So I currently don't have all the expansion packs and I'm slowly but surely getting there. But there's so much content, and not only content, but also game updates that have happened within the last 4 years. So it's just been really exciting to play. I will say, however, I haven't got a clue how to play The Sims 4, so if there is anybody out there that could teach me, that would be great. Because I literally feel like I've done a crash course in how to play The Sims 4 in the last 2 weeks. I didn't know how to navigate. I didn't even know how to work the camera. This is how much of a noob I am at this point. You wouldn't think I had thousands of hours in this game, because it's almost like I just had a complete memory wipe and didn't have a clue. So bear with me with this build. It was quite challenging, and it was even more challenging when I came to edit, because I'd spent so much time in the build menus and, well, basically having a look at all the new objects and trying to figure out and remember where everything was. But I did feel like slowly as I got into building, I felt more at home and more at ease, and it got easier and easier as I carried on. So I did really, really enjoy doing this build. One of the things as well that I'm most humbled by is that I am still an EA partner and content creator for EA, which means that I'll be able to bring you all the latest content from EA and be able to give away game codes again. And that's honestly one of the best things that I loved about doing this, because yeah, at this point, The Sims 4, if it wasn't expensive 4 years ago to play, it definitely is now. So I can't wait to be able to bring all the latest content to you and be able to bring you some game codes as well. Also, bear with me with this voiceover. This must be like my thousandth take trying to do it. My mouth's drying up like the Sahara Desert, and at this point, I'm just like, well, I'm just going to keep going. And, I don't even think anyone will really watch it anyway, so I think I might be all right. But if you do, many apologies. So, 4 years ago, I uploaded my last video, and it was around the time of COVID. It was when the government had announced the lockdowns, everything was closing, schools, restaurants, businesses, and it meant that I was going to have to homeschool my children. So, I've got 4 children, and it was a massive task back at the time. And with regards to The Sims 4 and my platform at the time, I always wanted to build really special builds that had, like quality content that I was really happy to put out. But I knew that once I began homeschooling my children, that it was going to be really challenging for me to be able to do that and give you the quality content that I really wanted to give you. And so I did decide and make a decision that I had to make my children the priority at the time and ensure that their education was taken care of. So that's exactly what I did. And it was quite sad for me at the time because I really did love The Sims and I loved what I did. But obviously, these things, we could never predict it. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone's slightly traumatized by what happened back with COVID. It was such unknown times. I also knew at the time that I didn't know how long it was going to be for. I didn't know if it was going to be for weeks or whether it was going to be for months. And so I made the decision. And, I'm glad I did, really, because, that is my role first and foremost, is to be a mum. And so I homeschooled my children, and that lasted for, I think it was like 6 months at the time. It was really quite intense. And so when they finally went back to school and normality started to kick back in again, I kind of felt like I just needed to breathe. Like I just needed some downtime to really kind of sort of de-stress and get back into normality and to finally embrace having some time to myself again. So I've never hidden away from the fact that I've always been a gamer. I've gamed over the years in all sorts of different types of games, from World of Warcraft to Dead by Daylight to Stardew Valley to No Man's Sky. I absolutely love playing games. And even though The Sims 4 is the only game that I actually upload to the channel, I do spend a lot of time in lots of different games. So that brought me on to the next chapter, which was Black Desert Online. So I don't know how many people are familiar with that particular game, but I ended up creating a Excel guild on the EU servers there called Odyssey, and it was absolutely amazing. I met so many incredible people, some people that became friends for life, and we went on so many adventures together and achieved some amazing things during that game. I played it probably for about 2.5 years, and it was just brilliant. I just had a really good time. But like anything, sort of all good things eventually come to an end, and I felt like I'd really exhausted the content in that game. I also didn't expect to play it for as long as I did, and I sank a very large amount of hours into that game as well. But I did decide, quite sadly, to kind of wrap that up and to move on. So I said my goodbyes, and that brought me really to probably September-ish of last year. So since then, I've kind of been bobbing around. We have had some things change at home as well. I am actually homeschooling one of my children still now, and I have been since January. It's my eldest daughter, and I'm incredibly proud of her. She's coming up to GCSE level, and it was decided that school wasn't really working for her, and that it was best that she came home where we could do some one-on-one studying and really kind of prep her for her exams next year. She's so incredibly bright. I must admit, I didn't have studying algebra down on my list for 2025. And thankfully, she's a hell of a lot brighter than I am, but it's been an absolute privilege to be sat alongside her and to be teaching her every day. So that's currently what I'm doing at the moment. I'm back homeschooling, but I am looking forward to also simultaneously creating content again for The Sims 4. And yeah, I've just been having an absolute blast. So over the Christmas period, I played quite a bit of Dead by Daylight, and Dead by Daylight is one of those games that I actually really love watching. There's not many games that I actually like watching, to be honest, but it's definitely one of those ones I enjoy. And as I was watching one of the streams, I saw in the corner of my eye, little Simsy was playing The Sims 4. And so I clicked onto her channel, and she's an amazing creator. She's come such a long way. She's been doing this for such a long time as well, and she's grown so much. I'm so incredibly proud of her. And I was watching her stream and I was thinking, oh, what if I actually opened the game and, just had a little look? And so therefore I ended up installing The Sims 4 and opening the game and looking at the gallery, and I just thought, you know what, I might just upload a video, because my kids have been saying for the longest time now, oh mum, do you think you'll go back to this The Sims 4? Do you think you'll upload another video? In actual fact, my youngest daughter, she was 4 when I stopped uploading to YouTube, and since then, now she's 8, she loves watching different content creators, and she plays all sorts of different games herself. And I remember one day saying to her that I'd got a YouTube channel, and she was like, no way, really? And I was like, yeah. And so I showed her one of my videos, and she was like, no way, because she really didn't believe that I did have a channel. But as soon as she heard my voice, she was like, wow. So since then, my kids have been like, do you think you'll go back? And I've thought about it, but now I feel like, you know what, the time's right and I'm ready to come back. And I'm really actually excited to get stuck into it, because there is so much exciting content coming out. I actually can't believe that The Sims 4, or the Sims franchise, celebrated 25 years the other week. Like, 25 years of The Sims is insane. I actually remember the very first time I ever played The Sims, and I was about 14 years old. I remember going around to my friend's house, and her sister was playing it on the computer. And I was watching her play, and she was like, do you want to have a go? And I was like, yeah. And that's where my love began for The Sims. I just adored it. I actually remember moving into one of my first houses, and I decided, I think it was around the time that The Sims 3 released, or it might have been The Sims 2, I can't remember which one it was. But I had a PC at the time, and I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, I can get The Sims. And so I raced to the shop and I bought The Sims. It must have been The Sims 3 maybe. And I installed it into my PC. I was so excited to play it, and it wouldn't play. It literally wouldn't play, because my PC didn't meet the standards and specs to be able to play the game, and I was absolutely mortified. So I remember I had to shelve it for a while until I got a better PC setup. But yeah, I really feel like I've grown up with The Sims, and it's just so amazing to still be a part of something so special. But just coming back to the build, obviously I'm moving on to the interior now, and if anybody knows me from back in the day, interiors aren't my favourite. I actually prefer just doing the build on the actual whole building and the outside, and I love doing the gardens and the landscaping. That's my favourite bits. I don't mind doing the interiors, and I do actually get into it a little bit, but because I've not played this game in forever, I just felt like I didn't know where anything was. And don't even get me started on the curtains. Like, the curtains have not evolved. Let me just say that. Like, the curtains and blinds situation in The Sims really does need a little bit of work. Like, they're really hard work still to find and place and have variation of. And but I tried my best, and my best will just have to do. So, as always, when I come to do a build, I concentrate a lot on the outside of the build and I just lose myself in it. And then when I drop the walls down, I then discover what I have to work with on the inside. So bear with me. When I dropped the walls down on this build, I realised that the upstairs, like the first floor in this house, was actually incredibly small. So I've had to divide the bedrooms up across the ground floor and the upstairs. And you're just going to have to like it and lump it, because the floor plan in this house is actually crazy. It's a little bit all over the place. And you know what? I even forgot like what types of rooms are in houses. I mean, obviously I know we've got a kitchen and a living room, but with these huge houses, I was thinking, how am I going to fill the space? Like, what am I going to put in these rooms? So I didn't actually include, there is a few turrets on this house, and in those turrets are like toilets. What do they call them? Not toilets. Yeah, it's just like a toilet room, isn't it? Or it's not a bathroom because there's not a bath in it, but I'll get to that as well later on, because I did forget to put a bath in and I had to go back and make sure that I put a bath in this build. But yeah, so the turrets are built with toilets in them and things like that, so there's a lot, but I didn't film them because they're just such like small finicky rooms that it's quite hard to get the camera angle in them, so I left them out. But they were all kind of carbon copies of one another anyway. I have to laugh. One of the hardest things to do right now is literally this voiceover. And my eldest son has just popped his head around the corner. He's 21 this year. 21! Oh my gosh. And he's just popped his head in with a big smile on his face. And he was like, I've literally just passed the living room and heard you. And I thought, are we moving house? Or is that simkim? So apparently he's gonna have to tell all of his friends that I'm coming back, which is just like, oh, scary. But yeah, some of these rooms in this house were just quite difficult, actually. I think this one in particular was a really bizarre shape, and I thought, what on earth am I going to do in this room? But it started out as an office, and I thought, yeah, we'll make it an office. Office is found quite frequently in houses. And then I was like, what can we put on the other end? A bar. Let's put a bar on the other end. So if your Sims are working some late nights and they're getting a little bit stressed, or they're maybe doing voiceovers for the 50,000th time, they can maybe have a drink from the bar. But I did really want this to be a family home, and obviously I love putting these kind of playrooms into houses. I would have loved, I think, with my children, if I had a playroom dedicated when they were little to just be in a safe space full of all their toys, because my living room growing up and, you know, our family home always had toys everywhere. I mean, I had like toy boxes, so we'd put everything away in toy boxes at the end of the day, but to actually have a dedicated room to letting kids just play away in safety, and everything in that room's theirs, and it doesn't matter what they touch, and it doesn't matter if, you know, there's nothing in there that's going to break, would have just been absolute heaven. And I do really, really love the items that The Sims 4 have got for children and kids. I just love the colours of them. Actually, this rug that I placed at the moment, I think it looks a lot more vibrant than what I remember it being when I last played. I felt like the last time I placed that down, it was a bit more muted in tones. So I don't know if the Sims have kind of like jazzed up some of their older items in the game and given them a bit more, or breathed some life into them with colour. But yeah, I did notice that. There was a couple of other really good changes that I feel like the Sims have done as well. It's more like the technical side of the game and placement of items and things like that. One thing I did notice in particular was placing doors and windows. We can now place them wherever we want, and that actually wasn't something 4 years ago you could do. If you moved it a certain way, the wall would kind of bleed into it, and it was just a bit of a nightmare. So there was some really nice quality of life changes that I feel that the Sims team have brought to the game as well. I know also last week they announced that they were adding, I think it's something like 70 items into the base game of the game, which is incredible. So I think one of the next builds I'll be doing, I'll maybe look at doing some base game builds, and I think I'm going to do some base game builds plus pack builds, because I think they're always popular, and especially because I've since seen that The Sims 4 has come to Steam, so that's absolutely huge because I know I use Steam personally, and there's a lot of players that are coming over to that platform now and playing through Steam. So something else I always really loved back then was discovering new Sims 4 creators as well. And obviously 4 years have since passed, and there'll be lots and lots of new creators to the platform. And I would love to know who you're following and who you really recommend. I know there's still quite a few people that were creating back then that are still creating now, and that's amazing to see. Some of those people have really, really flourished, and wow, I'm so incredibly proud of them. But yeah, there's always new people coming to the platform all the time, and I love discovering new people and seeing what ideas they've got and how creative they are. So if you've got any favorites, please be sure to leave me a comment and let me know who they are so that I can go and check them out as well. Also, if anyone can recommend me some good editing software, that would be amazing, because it was such a long time ago that I created videos for The Sims 4. At the time I think it was an Adobe software subscription, and I had my microphone back then and all that kind of stuff, and I've not used it for 4 years, so I didn't need it. So I'm starting from scratch. I've been using DaVinci Resolve, and I've had a few issues with it actually. There was a couple of times where clips just completely disappeared. To be fair, it's probably user error. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not saying it's the software, it's probably more than likely me, but still, I quite like it because it's quite straightforward to use, but at the same time, I've had a few errors with it that has set me back a couple of days. So yeah, let me know what you recommend if you use editing software yourself for anything. I'm also going to be exploring the world of TikTok as well. Oh, I absolutely adore TikTok. I feel like it's one of those social media platforms that is the only one that just has me laughing so much. Well, I say laughing, like I'm literally laughing one clip, and then I scroll to the next, I'm crying and I need a tissue. And then I'm scrolling to the next, I'm laughing again. It kind of makes me feel a little bit bipolar, to be fair. But I absolutely love that platform, and the fact that that's now out and it's huge, I was thinking I'm definitely going to bring my builds over to TikTok. So I will be posting some links to my social media in my videos as well, and you'll be able to go and follow me there if you're interested. I know I've been gone for that long. I'm pretty much starting from scratch. It's kind of like I'm starting from scratch, but I've got my foot in the door, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping that I can flood the internet with my lovely content, and that I will get lots of new faces come and join me on my journey and my next adventures, and obviously over on my social media platforms as well. But I'm excited. I've got lots of plans and lots of exciting things to come on the horizon. I think maybe my children might actually be coming along to join in on the journey, possibly doing some builds alongside me and maybe some voiceovers. I know my two daughters especially are incredibly creative, so I'll be looking forward to them getting involved somehow as well. But I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a big thumbs up, and I really would love to hear from you in the comments. So take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
When you will come my way, when you will come my way, I risk my heart each day for you to come my way. Love comes in